Bernard Avle of ChannelOne, Sadiq Adams, Mahama Haruna from the Savannah region, and there's a lady at the back there, and Joshua from GH1.
Thank you, Felix. Thank you, Felix. Before my question, I'd like to indicate that there was a question on Galamsey, which I believe has
Yes,
not
I
been
just
answered.
prompted His Excellency, and he will deal with it. Yeah.
Thank you very much. So, Mr. President, thank you for this opportunity. We are told democracy thrives on checks and balances and separation of powers. Your party has a 2/3 majority in Parliament. The Chief Justice you came to meet has been removed, of course, under your hand, although the process was gone through. There is talk of the EC chair and the leadership, quote, not being fit for purpose by members of your party. Some people fear that these developments and others create a situation where the other arms of government are completely subservient to the executive. In fact, one newspaper expressed the fear that you could be morphing into, quote, a supreme leader, unquote. There is a maxim that power corrupts, and absolute power corrupts absolutely. Should we be worried in your legacy term that the democracy you came to meet will be well oiled and that the three arms of government will work not in subservience but in unison? Thank you.
All right, before I come back to you, we'll cross over to Tamale and take a question from Abdul Mujiz from Tamale. Sagani TV from Tamale. Abdul Mujiz, you have the floor if you can hear me.
Thank you very much. Mr. President, good evening. My name is Ba Abdul Mujiz from Tamale. My question has to do with the Tamale and Yendi water project. I would like to know when.
Well, we seem to have lost Abdul, but I think I can continue from. He would like to know when the Tamale and Yendi water projects will be executed. Yeah, Sadiq, you have the floor now.
Good evening, Mr. President, and thank you very much for this opportunity. My name is Sadiq Adams from Angel TV and Angel Radio. Mr. President, the question is on national unity and peace. There has been a recent spate in social media accounts created by unidentified people purported to be representing ethnic and tribal groups. We have seen some vile attacks, pockets of that on social media, TikTok, and some of them in real life. There has been a number of them, and we observe over 50 that has been set up particularly to attack and inflame ethnic passion and tribal issues. If your security agencies have taken notice of this, what are the measures being taken to ensure that our national unity and cohesion is protected by education and sensitization, as well as trying to put this in a context of not suppressing freedom of expression, as well as maintaining the national cohesion that we have because of these kinds of threats and attacks from social media on ethnic basis. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Joshua from GH1.
I am Joshua Kojomensa, GH1 Television and Star FM. I'm glad to hear that you personally are telling us that indeed steps are being taken to repeal LI 2462. But then I want to find out from you, the pro-environmentalist groups and then civil society, they want this declaration of a state of emergency. Where's the difficulty in declaring that state of emergency? Thank you.
Thank you very much, Joshua. Mahama Haruna from Savannah. And then we will take a final question from the lady from GTV.
Thank you very much, Honorable. My name is Mahama Haruna, as you rightly said, from Savannah region Inkligi FM. Mr. President, we expected you to say a little on the security situation in the country, especially the unfortunate Boko conflict, and recently the conflict in your own backyard of Savannah region. I know how uncomfortable you are with the conflict in your backyard between Gonjas, who are the landlords, and the Brefos, who are the settlers. They've coexisted for about 100 years until recently. I know you are more worried because almost everyone in your backyard, Gonjas, Brefos, will always vote for you massively, sometimes almost 100%. Now, since 1996, when you contested your first elections, first of all, I just arrived from Bole, where you hail from. And I can say that the people are not happy with the curfew imposed on them. Especially in the beginning, people were dragged from their rooms and beaten. There's evidence to that. Now, let me go to my question.
You may want to wrap up.
No, yeah, I'll wrap up. Mr. President, you've put in place, the Minister of Interior has put in place a mediation committee. Do you think it can resolve the problem? Because some are saying there should have been a reconciliation committee. Moreover, the people are saying since the conflict erupted, they've not heard from you. So what do you have to tell your people? Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. So the final question will come from the lady from GTV.
Good evening, Your Excellency. Thanks for the opportunity. I'm Salamat Kukwa Painter. I'm with the Despite Media.
Yeah, pardon me, Despite Media, yes.
Yes, yes, thank you. I wanted to hear something from the creative arts industry when you made your presentation, but I didn't hear anything. The question is that you have shown how you want to bridge the unemployment gap, but I want to find out that how do you intend, or can you tell us what plans you have in using the creative arts sector to solve the high unemployment? And also, please, I would like to hear what is happening with the Black Star experience. Thank you.
Thank you very much. So His Excellency will now answer these questions.
Thank you very much. Let me first apologize for missing one of the questions, and that is the accusation that there's interference in terms of the oral investigations. I would have very conveniently said the General Secretary himself is here, and so I'll call him to present his evidence to the public. But I can assure you that there's no way anybody can interfere. I cannot be in people's mind to stop them from attempting to interfere, but I am responsible for making sure that that interference comes to naught. And so I closely monitor. I hold regular meetings with the Attorney General. He briefs me on the status of investigations. And so I'm confident that, the cases will go ahead based on their merits and that nobody would have the opportunity to interfere. If anybody goes lobbying people or paying people to interfere, they probably are just throwing away their resources. All cases will be investigated and come to their logical end. If people are exonerated in the courts, that's what justice is all about. We will do our part, and we're being painstaking in preparing the dockets, and that's why people are complaining that it's a bit slow. But you don't want to hurriedly take a docket to courts and have it thrown out on technicality. And that's why you need to make sure that by the time a docket is prepared and prosecution starts, you have a watertight case that will ensure that you get a conviction. And so that's the process that we're going through. There was also a question that was tied to water, but it also had to do with Galamsey. It says that the justification for water company asking for such a steep increase was because of the cost of treating the water. And I answered it in terms of the tariff, but not in terms of the Galamsey in the water. But in my statement, I indicated that we've just started with the Blue River Guards. We're training more and more of them. These are long expanses of water bodies. And so far, those we've trained are 600 and something. They are not enough to cover even the length of the Ankobra. And so as we recruit and deploy, because they patrol the water bodies, if they see any Shamfam machine on the water body, they seize it and we burn it, we destroy it. And so I gave you the number of Shamfam machines we have seized and destroyed. As we continue to increase the numbers of these Blue River Guards, I'm sure that we'll be able to cover the Tano, we'll be able to cover the Pra, we'll be able to cover the Ankobra. And we hope that then we'll start seeing, some reduction in the turbidity of the water. But even more than those on the water bodies, the destruction is the forest reserves. Because the rivers take their catchment areas from the water reserve. So if you destroy, from the forest reserve, if you destroy the forest reserve, the river or the stream will dry up. Because where it takes its water source will no longer exist. And so that's why at the beginning of the struggle I said our focus is going to be on the water bodies and the forest reserves. And then we can stretch out to other areas. So as we train more Blue River Water Guards, we would see an improvement in the turbidity levels of the waters. Bernard said I'm in danger of becoming a supreme leader. Look in my face, do I look like a supreme leader? And that is to paraphrase Prof. Star. At Mills, do I look like a cat hunter? Do I look like a supreme leader? I'm a Democrat true and true. And even when we attained 2/3 of Parliament, I said that we're not going to use it to ride roughshod over the minority, and that we're going to give opportunity for democracy to flourish. And so we don't intend to use our 2/3 majority to steamroll our democracy. We believe that even though the people of Ghana gave us that overwhelming majority, it wasn't meant to turn Ghana into a dictatorship. They gave it to us in order that we could carry out reforms to make our governance better. And I think that we stand a very good chance with that 2/3 majority to finally move the amendments to the Constitution that we have all wanted. In the past, because of hung parliaments and all that, we couldn't make any progress because there are some of those amendments for which you need an overwhelming majority. And so Ghanaians have given us that opportunity and say, look, go ahead and do these things so that we can have a better constitution that will take Ghana for many more generations to come. And so that's what I believe. But I certainly am not on the way to becoming a supreme leader or an autocrat. Yendi and Tamale water. Yendi, Tamale are 3 urban areas in the northern regions that suffer severe water scarcity, especially Tamale. Tamale is probably the biggest city in the whole of the 5 northern regions. The population has been increasing rapidly, and the water system has not expanded as fast to meet the demand of a growing population. And so we have to urgently expand Tamale, Yendi, and Damango has become a regional capital. It has started growing very fast, and it faces a scarcity of water. The Tamale and Damango water systems are under an EU program, and recently when I went to Brussels, it's one of the things we discussed. There's funding available for those 2 water systems. And so because we have a cap on our credit, external credit, of $250 million a year, we have to find space within that to be able to accommodate Tamale and Damango water. But I want to assure you that they are priority projects for government, and we definitely would fund them and make sure that before we leave office, Tamale and Damango get sufficient water for those cities to thrive. With Yendi, we are placing Yendi under the Big Push program. And so we're going to fund it with our oil and gold revenues and establish an expanded water treatment system for Yendi. The budget statement is going to be read in November. And in the budget statement, details of these projects will be included in the budget. The last time the GJA came to me, I mentioned to them that as the world changes and new technologies come, we're moving from not having just the traditional media into having what we call the new media. These are all the new social media instruments like TikTok, like Facebook, like X, and all of them. And so the traditional sense of journalists like you, most of you trained and working in media houses that have a corporate identity and can be held responsible for the information that you put out, is beginning to change. We have a new crop of I'll call them neo-journalists, who anybody with a phone and a camera can report news or comment on national issues. Now the point is, who holds those people responsible? And that's what he's saying. If you go to some of the WhatsApp platforms, or you go to some of the commentaries in the TikToks and others, we have what we call hate speech, incitement to violence. Those are criminal. Despite the fact that we have removed the criminal libel laws, there are some laws that make such people accountable. Because if we don't regulate that sector, it can lead this nation to war. There are some of the incendiary statements that have been made in the Boko situation that are fueling some of what is happening there, making people hate each other and see each other as enemies. It's been the same in the Gonja Brefo thing. Some people fanning and inciting violence against each other. This falls in the ambit of the National Signals Bureau. And so the National Signals Bureau now has the technology to use your IP number and find you wherever you are. So I'm sending a signal to Ghanaians that we can find you those doing those hate speech and things. We'll use your IP number, we'll trace you. And when we trace you, we'll deal with you under the criminal code for inciting violence and disturbance of the peace. But I believe that beyond that, we must start making regulation for this new media, because it's unregulated. And so anybody just takes a phone and says, oh, this plane crash, I wish that so and so had been the one in the helicopter and had died, and dwarfs have eaten him in the forest. I mean, why would you say something like that? And so we need regulation for that new emerging media. But in the meantime, the National Signals Bureau has been given the full authority to track down people who do that kind of thing and bring them to be sanctioned under the criminal code. I've been reluctant to implement a state of emergency in the Galamsey fight because we've not exhausted the powers we even have without a state of emergency. We have the opportunity to arrest anybody, to confiscate any such thing. There are laws for forest protection and all that give us enough powers to be able to act. Implementing a state of emergency might sound nice, but it should be the last extreme, the last resort. So for now, let's exercise all the powers we have. And if it becomes necessary for a state of emergency, then we'll look at it. It means we have to go to Parliament. The President can't just declare a state of emergency without, going to Parliament, because there's a limit to how long you can maintain that state of emergency. And so I believe that we still have leverage to continue to fight Galamsey without necessarily implementing a state of emergency. It means that we have to delineate the areas where the state of emergency is operational. And if you look at the area where Galamsey is taking place, it covers several districts of our country. And so we would do it if it becomes necessary. But for now, I think that we've given the security services enough powers to be able to deal with people who are found to be involved in Galamsey. With regards to the security in the Sola, Tuna, Kalba, and Bole districts, it was an incident over a small plot of land, like the land you put a container kiosk on. That's all. And it has led to over 30 deaths. Somebody has his house, and there's a land between the house and the street. And he wants to build shops on that land. And then there's a dispute with the chief. And then it leads to gunfire and then deaths. It's most unfortunate, like the questioner said, these are two groups that have lived in peace for so many years and are intermarried. There are people from one side who are married to their others, people from one side that are married to others. I, for instance, am such a mixture of people, I don't know who I am. Part of me is Vagla, part is Safalba, part is Gonja. I mean, quarter of everything. And so if my ethnic groups are fighting, it means my body should be fighting with different parts of my body because I'm a mixture. My blood is made up of all those ethnic groups. And so it's most unfortunate. And so we've put in a mediation team. We mentioned the members. The 2 MPs are supposed to be ex-official members to work with the mediation team. If you look at the terms of reference in the mediation team, there's also reconciliation. And so even though we call it a mediation team, its terms of reference includes reconciliation. So we've given them the full authority to meet both sides, to perform purification rites, to cleanse the land of any blood that has been spilled and all that, and then to come out with recommendations how to improve relations between the 2 groups so that they live in peace. There are few feudal practices that have been complained about, you know, where people are called to chiefs' palaces and shipped, or they are forced to give up their animals and things. We need to look at all those practices too as we go forward. We're in a modern society, and so sometimes some of these things we must take another look at them. I've been accepted by all sides. Indeed, sometimes my greatest supporters were people of other ethnic extractions other than my own Gonja extraction. I won elections not because I was a Gonja, but because of the person that I was, you know, and I enjoyed a good relations with everybody. And so even though I haven't visited yet, I have not gone there yet because I want peace to have a chance, but I've been pulling the strings. I sent a delegation to the Yegbonra to prevent him from leaving Damango and going to Biniri, which would have escalated the conflict. And he listened to me as a father, and he refused to go. I stopped the Bolera too from going there. We gave the chiefs an escort to go and see the place where the incident happened. And I think that that has lessened tensions. As I speak, we've given the security services the authority and the resources to begin to bring some of the displaced people back to their communities. And so we're going to work hard to make sure that we bring peace to Gonjaland. We need peace to develop. Our common enemy is poverty, it's not each other. Savannah is one of the poorest regions in the country, and so we must rather be fighting poverty rather than fighting each other. The last one, the creative arts. The creative arts is one of the important sectors. What we notice is that the creative industry creates jobs faster than the traditional sectors that we have known. By the time or manufacturing creates 1 job, the creative sector, digitalization, knowledge industry, arts and things would have created about 5 jobs. And so that's an area in which we have to continue to invest. And that is why we created them as a ministry together with tourism. The Black Star experience will take off. They've been working on all the foundational issues, and you'll soon see a sign of it. In the next budget, we're going to make some allocation for the creative arts, for the film fund, and to support Kuma Wood and all the filmmakers, to support the music industry, to support the arts and all that. We need to put our money where our mouths are. And I think that the creative arts are a good representation of our culture and who we are as a people. Thank you.
Excellency. Unfortunately, due to